Hi, Catherine Lynch here. I'm here to discuss the Advanced Concepts presentation number 7. So today we're going to talk about some of the research I did into the drug lovastatin and walk you through the cholesterol biosynthesis and how lovastatin inhibits high cholesterol. And I'm also going to go over how lovastatin can go through any structural changes before becoming active. And without further ado, I will start. So the mechanism of cholesterol biosynthesis. So cholesterol biosynthesis is regulated by the amount of reductase in its activity, and SREBP, or sterol regulatory element binding protein, mediates transcriptional control as well as translation of reductase mRNA. The reductase itself also may undergo regulated proteolysis, and then finally phosphorylation of AMP-activated kinase when ATP levels are low inhibit reductase activity. So ultimately, the goal of any statins is to reduce cholesterol levels. So overall, LDL, or low-density lipoprotein receptors, are controlled by the cell's need for cholesterol. So in order to decrease the low density lipoprotein, or LDL cholesterol, the idea is to deprive the cell of the sources of cholesterol. There's actually 2 approaches to do this, and most of the time both approaches are usually used, but require 2 different approaches to ultimately lower the low density lipoprotein. So these 2 approaches include inhibition of bile salt reabsorption, as well as the blocking of de novo synthesis. So for the first one, by administering positively charged polymers, bile salt reabsorption can be inhibited. By doing this, actually, the polymers bind to negatively charged bile salts, therefore they're no longer absorbed. So that actually takes care of one problem. But that's not really what we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about cholesterol synthesis being blocked by what's called a class of drugs that are called statins. So overall, this is actually pretty cool. I have a lot of patients that are on different statins, like atorvastatin, even lovastatin. So we're going to learn about how it lowers cholesterol levels, and it can do a lot of other stuff too, lowering blood pressure and stuff like that. But for now, we're going to go over lovastatin. So what is it? So it is, here I can move myself so we can see all my words. It is a 3-hydroxy 3-methylglutarol coenzyme A, and for the sake of me not saying that all the time, it's an HMG-CoA reductase inhibitor. So it actually competitively inhibits the HMG-CoA reductase, and by doing this, it disrupts the biosynthesis of cholesterol in the hepatic and peripheral cells. So this will, in turn, increase low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, cholesterol receptor synthesis, and then this actually increases the uptake of LDL cholesterol from the plasma. So in turn, this actually ends up lowering the overall LDL levels, which is the ultimate goal. So usually, to do both, there's another drug that's used to inhibit the bile salt reabsorption, and then they will put you on also lovastatin, and this will actually, both of them together will lower cholesterol levels as a whole. And something that was kind of interesting, this actually only works in homozygosity, like hypercholesterolemia. If you have heterozygous hypercholesterolemia, you usually actually need a liver transplant. So I thought that was actually kind of interesting. So actually, the rate of synthesis of HMG-CoA reductase mRNA is controlled by the SREBP, or the sterol regulatory element binding protein. The transcription factor binds to a short DNA sequence called the sterol regulatory element, or the SRE, and then that binds to, or the SRE, when cholesterol levels are low, enhances transcription. So in the active state, the SREBP resides in the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER. And then SCAP escorts SREBP to the small membrane vessels in the Golgi complex. And then, let's see, the release protein actually migrates to the nucleus, and that's when it binds to the SRE of the HMG-CoA reductase gene. So lovastatin, after all that happens, actually ends up inhibiting the HMG-CoA reductase gene. And then that is what inhibits or blocks the cholesterol biosynthetic pathway. And then in turn, that lowers cholesterol levels. So here we have lovastatin right here, and it actually takes on a similar form to mevalonate, and that's actually up here, what's in red. And then this is the active form of it, and that is what inhibits the HMG-CoA reductase, and then in turn lowers cholesterol. So here are my references. Up here, I used the textbook, and then I used another study that I found. Thanks.